You're watching Anglia Television with the latest news now from ITN.
From the studios of ITN, the news with Nicholas Owen.
Good evening, welcome to the programme. Tonight's headlines. Speaking as a couple, Charles and Camilla deny they're behind new Diana claims. Hints that the Falklands War arms embargo against Argentina may be lifted. And why 5 pop hits have jumped into the history books. Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles have issued an unprecedented joint statement denying they're behind a book containing controversial claims about Princess Diana. In their first public comments together, the couple say they didn't authorise or approve the book by the author Penny Junor. Sue Saville reports.
In a significant move, Prince Charles's first joint public statement with Camilla Parker Bowles distances them both from a book which denigrates Diana. The new version of the royal marriage is said to be based on information from Charles's friends. Author Penny Junor justified rekindling the sensitive issue of the marriage by saying it was an attempt to tell the complete story. She makes some controversial claims: that Diana committed adultery before Charles, that she made death threats to Mrs. Parker Bowles in late-night phone calls, and that the Queen was reluctant to have Diana's body returned in a royal plane. Buckingham Palace rejected this last allegation as a grotesque misrepresentation of the truth. The joint statement from Charles and Camilla is emphatic, saying Penny Junor's book was not authorised, solicited or approved by the Prince of Wales or Mrs. Parker Bowles. The Prince of Wales recognises that there is, and probably will continue to be, a great interest in the events surrounding his marriage. However, he has always been strongly of the view that private and personal details surrounding it should be left private and undisturbed. The joint statement is less a move for recognition as a couple than a fierce reaction to the book, says this royal writer.
I don't think that Charles and Camilla really want to be seen acting in consort together. I think they've been forced into this by the severity of the circumstances, because in fact it puts a great deal of pressure on them. It also raises a great deal of question about who their friends are.
The remarkable joint statement issued through Prince Charles's office shows his concern to quash suggestions that he's behind this latest version of events. Prince Charles says that he hopes that for the sake of the princess's memory and of Princes William and Harry, people will agree with him that what is in the past should remain there. That is his own wish. Sue Saville, ITN at St James's Palace.
The government's hinting that the arms embargo against Argentina could be lifted for the first time since the Falklands War. But no concessions are being made to Chile's former dictator. General Pinochet is still fighting extradition through the courts. John Draper reports.
There were minor scuffles today outside the hospital where General Pinochet is being treated when human rights protesters objected to this right-wing Chilean visiting the former dictator. Tomorrow his lawyers will be back in court. Pinochet, who's accused of murder, is now said to be in poor health, which some argue could be grounds for setting him free. The irony is that Britain's ally in the Falklands War is under arrest at a time when President Menem of Argentina is about to start an official visit to promote reconciliation. Ahead of his arrival, Britain's now considering lifting the ban on sales of weapons imposed after the Falklands invasion, on condition that the island's security is not affected.
We want to make sure that nothing we do would put at risk the islands, and therefore, if at a future date, not this week, but if at a future date there were to be change, we'd make sure that we had a very tight grip. We would not be selling equipment that could be used against the Falkland Islands.
The Foreign Office is stressing that President Menem was an opponent of the Argentinian regime that invaded the Falklands. Indeed, he was imprisoned by them. Even so, Mr. Menem still wants to discuss the island's sovereignty this week. Mr. Blair says that issue is off limits. John Draper, ITN at the Foreign Office.
The government tonight announced a change in the rules on lobbying by assistants to ministers. It follows the revelation that Alan Meale, a former parliamentary private secretary to John Prescott, privately lobbied ministers in the Department of the Environment over the development of a new sports complex in North London. Mr. Meale said he hadn't accepted any money. However, the opposition said it was outrageous and that he should consider his position. Benjamin Netanyahu is back in Israel tonight defending his peace deal with the Palestinians. Israeli hardliners and Palestinian militants have already begun protesting. From Jerusalem, our Middle East correspondent Julian Mannion.
The peace deal has claimed its first victims. In the West Bank city of Ramallah, 2 Palestinians were injured as Palestinian political activists clashed with their own security forces. The issue unlicensed weapons, which the security forces were trying to seize. Arriving at Ben Gurion Airport, Benjamin Netanyahu staged a dramatic defense of the agreement. Polls show that 3/4 of Israelis support the deal, but the religious right and the settlers are against it, and the Prime Minister struggled to placate them. He claimed that he'd struck a far better bargain than the opposition Labour Party ever could have.
People of Israel and the Palestinians know very well that their expectation from the previous government was to receive most of the territories in these redeployment process, these redeployments. That clearly has not happened.
3 of Netanyahu's right-wing ministers failed to appear at the airport in an apparent snub. The hardline foreign minister, Ariel Sharon, appeared to back the deal, but when he was asked if he'd vote for it in cabinet, he said people would have to wait and see. Meanwhile, angry settlers again tried to block West Bank highways. 20 were arrested. As the security precautions for Benjamin Netanyahu's return home indicate, it's the Israeli leader who will have the most immediate difficulties selling this agreement. He now faces a battle for political survival, with his one-time allies on the religious right campaigning against the deal, while the opposition Labour Party stands by, hoping to pick up the pieces. Julian Mannion, ITN, Jerusalem.
The waters from the floods across Britain receded today, but the costs of the damage they caused are still rising. As fire crews and homeowners struggle to clear up, insurance assessors are warning that some insurance premiums could rise by as much as 30%. Typhoon Babs, which wreaked havoc in the Philippines and left 142 people dead, is now heading for China with winds of 125 miles an hour. And some violent weather intervened in this football match in South Africa. In fact, these players were felled by lightning.
Unbelievable scene.
It's not thought any of them were seriously hurt, though 2 were taken to hospital. Here, Arsenal moved into 3rd position in the Premiership this afternoon with a win against Blackburn at Ewood Park. This crisp finish from the Frenchman Nicholas Owen put the visitors ahead after 24 minutes. And 5 minutes before the break, a free kick from Emmanuel Petit eventually found the net. Blackburn pulled one back through Damien Johnson and might have equalised with this, but the goal was disallowed because of a foul. And in Scotland, Rangers went through to the final of the Scottish League Cup with an emphatic 5-0 win over Airdrie. Finally, a first in the pop charts. Tonight, the entire top 5 places are new entries, singles making the charts after just a week on sale. Philippa Young reports.
Here's that all-new top 5.
Pop history's been made tonight. The top 5 best-selling singles are all new to the charts, even if the stars aren't.
The UK's brand new #1 song, Cher.
Cher first made it to #1 in 1965. George Michael's arrest for lewd behaviour, clearly an influence in the video for the #2 single. His chart debut was in 1982. The 80s throwback continued with U2 at #3, Culture Club at 4.
Cliff Richard was moaning only a few days ago that the old-timers weren't getting a chance. Well, this gives the lie to that. In fact, they are.
New performers from the 90s only got a look in at #5. Industry experts say today's pop record is partly down to the music, but mostly to marketing and hype. Philippa Young, ITN.
And that's all from the Weekend News team and me here at ITN. Good night.
Hello, good evening. Well, at least those winds eased off during the course of the day. Turning to our Met Office wind flow chart, we can pick up on the culprit, that area of low pressure, now moving off the scene. That really is only half the story, though, because ready and waiting in the wings out to the west, another area of low pressure, and that heads our way with wet and windy weather overnight on Monday and into the day on Tuesday. Now back to tonight, and we've some showers out to the west, otherwise clear skies, dipping temperatures down to what they have been recently. In fact, we could even see some icy patches on the roads in Northern Ireland and the north of Scotland. So we're going to tomorrow morning largely on a dry note. We see a band of cloud there through the middle of the country with some shower outbreaks and some showers out to the west as well. Now during the course of the day, this band of cloud moves away eastwards and it settles into a fairly bright day. Some sunny spells, again the occasional shower, and the skies cloud over later on in Ireland. So with our temperatures tomorrow in the north at round about 8 to 11, that's 46 to 52 in Fahrenheit. In the south, a high of 14, 57, but a bit of a westerly wind blowing around as well. That's all from me. Good night.
Power Gen. Power, whatever the weather.
Anglia and Sun Life, helping you plan for tomorrow.
Remaining showers will die out to leave a clear and chilly night with local ground frost possible. Tomorrow, scattered showers will again affect the area, these dying out later with sunny spells. On Tuesday, it'll become quite windy again and milder, but with some patchy rain at times.